TV, film, reality TV, book, voiceover, icon. Corey Feldman is next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, you guys. Welcome to another edition of the Concert Experience. You're hearing a new song by my guest, Corey Feldman, and that is also featuring Snoop Dogg. Okay, that's Snoop Dogg. That's right. Now, I do have, you need a cough drop?
No, a cough button.
A cough button. I don't really.
You know, radio.
Yes, exactly. I do radio, so it's kind of funny. You're fast. I like that. If you're like me, I'm kind of fanning out a little bit because he's like my teenage years. I mean, many of you guys know about his acting in films like Stand By Me, Lost Boys, Goonies, Gremlins, Friday the 13th. I mean, just on and on and on. But he's been actually singing and doing music for as long as he's been acting. Yes, he has. He's released albums for years, and he has a new album out, coming out tomorrow. Angelic to the Core. Look at this.
Dun, dun, dun.
Double album, too.
And if you're listening in the UK, it's actually out right now.
Ooh, it's a hit. We're in the future.
Amazing.
We're in the
Amazing.
future. Oh, my God. I don't even know. Corey Feldman.
That's Future Buzz.
It is Future Buzz.
That's going to be the next channel that they develop.
Right, AFTERBUZZ Future. Yeah, I like that. So you are quick. You've been in the business for a while. How are you, sir?
Just a few days. I just started. I'm a little green, wet behind the ears.
I don't think you are at all. You are a trained professional.
Thank you. I'm doing very well, except for the fact that something went down the wrong pipe right before we started, so I've got this little... So just excuse me, listeners, and I apologize for that.
Yes. But if you can't see him, he's looking really dapper today, too, sir. I like it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank
I do.
you.
I like it.
I would like to say that I got all dressed up for you, but I actually am going to a big premiere right after this. So I had to be dressed up.
But I'm glad you came looking like that for me anyway.
It is also for you. I would have been dressed nice, just maybe not in this hot of a coat.
Yeah, I know today. I know
on one of the hottest days on the globe.
I know, I love it.
Amazing.
Oh my God. So okay, so we are talking about the music, of course, but I got to do a quick word association with you about your acting.
Okay.
And then we go right into your music. We'll talk about everything about this. And I mean, I'm so excited.
Okay, good.
So just tell me the first thing that comes to mind when we talk about this. Stand By Me.
Sorry.
I was like, that's your answer.
That was my answer.
I love it.
It's a one-word answer.
I love it.
Cough.
That's so great.
Stand By Me. First word that comes to mind, art.
Ooh, that is. I like that. The Lost Boys.
Horror comedy.
Goonies.
Adventure.
I just watched it the other day.
Family.
Gremlins.
Little scary dudes with a comic twist. That's not just one word, but no,
that's you could do sentences and anything.
Oh, okay,
all
right.
Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Old school, real scares.
Yes. They don't do that anymore like they used to back then.
They sure don't. Everything's CGI and, jump cuts. Everything's so fast.
Yes.
You don't have the pacing, the timing of those old movies.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I completely agree with that. Donatello.
Quick, cheap, easy.
He was in the original... I can't get the word out.
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Thank you. Say that 5 times fast.
Even with my cough, I seem to be able to handle it.
Because you're a professional.
No, but you know what? I say that with no disrespect to the franchise because, of course, I am currently on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
I play Slash, which is the first ever black turtle. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, racial equality on the turtles, all right? That's all I'm saying. And of course, they pick me to do that.
Yes, well, it makes sense to me.
Yes, it makes sense to me too, ironically.
No, that's what I'm saying. It makes sense to me.
But anyway, so the point being that the first one, though, I got really soaked. I mean, I did that movie for like nothing.
Wow.
Literally pennies.
Ugh.
Yeah. It was embarrassingly low. And then they went out and made like $350 million, and they were never like, hey, let us cut you down a little something for all your help or your efforts or whatever.
Hollywood.
But then I wasn't in the second one, right? Because it had Vanilla Ice.
Yes, I did. Yes.
No. And then 3, I came back, and I was like, well, now you made all this money.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, we just recovered from part 2. There's no way we can afford this. So I got screwed again.
Oh, my God.
Ninja Turtle power. Go.
I do. I love it. Fox and the Hound.
Well, Fox and the Hound. Now that's one that is. It was one of my first jobs, so I didn't really deserve to get paid well, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I just thrilled to be, part of such a classic. Obviously, I grew up loving Disney. My sister at the time was already a Mickey Mouse Club, person. So she was she was a Mouseketeer officially.
Wow.
And I was going with her to the Disney lot every day to her set, and that's where I was able to actually get the offer to go in and audition because they heard my voice in one of the hallways or something. The casting director said, "I'm looking for this voice," and she came around a corner and she heard me talking. She's like, "That's it. That's the voice of a little dog right there."
You got discovered, like she got discovered.
Yeah,
talking
at Disney.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
That is crazy. That's amazing. Dickie Roberts.
I don't talk about that.
Okay.
No. I'll talk about it. I'm just joking. There's nothing I won't talk about, but I do have to take my jacket off in here because it's criminally hot.
It's hotter than it's a little warm in here. We're having hot flashes. We're having hot flashes. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyway, so let's talk about that for a second. Dickie Roberts. Now, I did that film with the intention of doing first of all, I didn't really want to do it, to be honest, but I agreed to do it because I thought it was a funny concept, and I happened to be releasing my last solo album at that time, which was called Former Child Actor.
Yes, I remember that
So
album,
I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense from a marketing standpoint. Yeah. I put out the album in conjunction with the movie, and I put one of the songs from the album in the movie, and then it's all worked out. Unfortunately, the song that they chose wasn't actually on the album.
Oh,
so, because the album was already coming out.
Okay.
So it was from a future album, which ended up being this album.
Oh, so this song's on this album?
Negativity is on the new album.
Oh, how funny.
Absolutely.
Okay,
So,
wow.
And this is the first solo album I've put out since, so obviously it makes sense, which is why I tell everybody this album has been literally 10 years in the making.
Wow, 10 years. That's amazing.
Amazing.
Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go.
Absolutely. I love those guys. Basically, the same team that's making the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now is the same team that put out Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. So it was created by Ciro Neely for Disney. Yeah. And Ciro Neely then created the new Ninja Turtle cartoon, CGI Adventures. But anyway, so big thanks to him because he's kept me employed quite a bit. And also the cast is very similar. Greg Sipes, who plays Michelangelo, I believe, on the new show, was the lead guy. He was Chiro, the main kid. And then Tom Kinney, who plays SpongeBob, was one of the super robots. And he's also one of my gang, the Mutanimals, on the new Ninja Turtle show.
I love it.
And then who else is on there? Like everybody. Clancy Brown and Kevin Michael Richardson. They are all there, just in different, spots. Basically.
Isn't voiceover work great?
I love it. It's so much fun. Well, I love kids, so I do everything. Half of my whole world is created and designed for kids. So the point is, that's why I do more family movies than anything. I mean, very excited that the success of Goonies, has become a staple in family films.
Yes, several generations at this point now.
And of course I've done a lot of animated movies from some that people don't even know about. Here's a rarely known fact. I was in a Warner Brothers animated film that I starred in called The Scarecrow.
Okay.
Which people don't even know that existed, right? And then there was another one called The Adventures of, what was the name of that? It's like Chris Columbus, and I play Pico the Woodworm. And it's like The Magic Voyage. It's called The Magic Voyage, and I play Pico the Woodworm, and I actually sing in that movie. Wow. And that was like 15, 20 years ago, probably 20 years ago. Wow. So there's a bunch of animated movies that people might not know about. And then also, of course, I do video games. That's the one thing you failed to mention. I did the first ever CD-ROM adventure game. Wow. Did anybody know that? No. It was called Normality. And it came out in like 93, 94, before anybody was even doing this.
There was no internet thing, nothing like that.
No, nothing. This was before the internet. Wow. And so that was the first ever CD-ROM playable like adventure world where you could go into a new world and explore it and click on things and see what they say and what they, So I had to do like 2,000 lines as the main character of that. But anyway, more recently, I'm in like the hottest game of last Christmas, which is what's the name of that game again? No. Sorry, you lose. No, it is like the biggest game for kids right now. And what is it called? Come on, somebody help me. Minecraft. Thank you very much.
Minecraft? Oh my God, that is the biggest game for kids. All my kids love that game.
Yes. So do you play the new one? Have you played the new?
My grandkids. I don't play, but they play it.
Come on, man.
I know.
Come on.
I know.
You're never too old for video games.
That is true.
Anyway, I play the king of the what? The Griefers. I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've talked about this. It came out last year, and I'm all about the album right now. But anyway, point being, Minecraft. I play the king of the Griefers. Magnus is his name, and he's part of the group that they have to put together to actually beat the game. So it's
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a fun adventure game.
Well, I want people to know that you're working, because also you were in a couple of videos. You were in Neon Trees video, and you're also in Katy Perry video, made appearances.
That's true. I've been in a lot of videos. Moby's video, Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
I mean, the list kind of goes on and on.
You are a working actor, musician. I mean, you're working.
I'm always doing something every day. I've got 3 movies in development right now. One that I just finished, which is going to be a monster, literally. Which is slated to possibly come out this October. They're waiting to see which studio is going to release it.
Okay.
But they're pretty secure that they're going to get studio distribution. It'll hit theaters. The new movie is called Corbin Nash, and it's with Malcolm McDowell, Rutger Hauer.
Some good names.
Yeah. And a more modern name, which is Dean Jagger, who's on Game of Thrones, and his brother Ben Jagger directed it. So that movie's coming out. Wow, and then I'm developing a movie around my book, Choreography, which I read it. Thank you. We're now turning that into a feature film. Wow. And then we're also developing a movie about the 2 Coreys. So I have a lot in the works right now. You do. Yeah, but for now, the focus is the single, the video, the album, and eventually the tour.
Yes, and I have so many questions for you about this album, first of all. Why a double album?
Because there was so much stuff that I couldn't fit it all in one album. I mean, it just literally wouldn't fit. First of all, I'm known for doing kind of longer songs. Yes. I mean, especially with my band Truth Movement. Obviously, that's a whole different beast, and like it's not really pop, so we do 15-minute songs and things like that. And then there's like 30-second songs. So I like to just kind of do the unexpected with that. But with this, it is a real pop album. So there's 11 songs on each CD plus skits in between those songs.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it really it's still kind of a concept album.
Yeah.
It tells a story. I mean, the packaging, if you open it up, you'll see there's a beautiful pull-out poster.
Ooh, okay.
There's a 16-page color booklet. There's all the lyrics inside, all the production credits inside, and the best part is the whole thing was made with vegan ink. Soy ink.
Wow.
So, no animals were harmed in the making of the ink, and then also recycled paper. Wow. So it's 100% biodegradable, except for the discs themselves, which I figure if you buy the album and you don't like it, you can throw the whole thing in the ocean, but make sure you take the discs out because those can be used as Frisbees. Or cup holders.
Cup holders. Or you say you can hang them in trees with fruit trees.
I've seen people do that, or use them as Christmas tree ornaments. So there's all sorts of possibilities.
Earrings.
If you don't like the album.
Yes.
But that said, most people are digging what they've heard so far. So I'm thinking that people will like it. So the reason why there's 2 full CDs, to get back to that, there is a dance CD and a rock CD.
Oh, okay.
So disc 1 is called Angelic Funkadelic to dance.
Got it.
The other one is called Angelic Rockadelic to rock.
Okay, got it. I like that. Okay, I like that.
So depending on what mood you're in, depends on which disc you're going to put in.
Very
so
cool.
on the first disc, we've got, great songs. I mean, Ascension Millennium's on there, Does on there, the title track, Angelic
These
to
are
the
songs
Core.
that I've heard before that have been out, and you've decided to put them on this album, correct?
That's right. Well, no, they were all being released as a setup to promote this album.
Got it.
So basically, when I created Corey's Angels 3 years ago, that was all done and centered around the pre-promotion of this album.
Okay, so you're smart. You're like you're leading the way.
I let it out there, and I don't think anybody's ever done this before. 3 years of pre-promotion and marketing for an album.
I've heard of that. No.
Right. So the whole reason was because I knew it was going to be such a big, expensive album for me to do and to release and to get out there that I really needed a lot of people to know about it. And if you look at what's happening, never before has Corey Feldman been on the mainstream charts. Never before has Corey Feldman been, interviewed on very popular current news shows.
You were on Channel 5 the other day. I was like, oh, there he is on Channel 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm everywhere right now. And we actually got an offer from New York to do one of the highest rated shows in the world to perform on it. But I don't want to talk about that yet because we don't have a date to announce, but I'll let you know that it's coming.
Please do,
and just so much exciting stuff going on. It's pretty mind-blowing what's happening. As a matter of fact, I wanted to give you some of the charts.
Give some stats.
because we just got these in, folks. So if everybody's listening and paying attention, now the goal, we did a crowdfunding campaign, and the goal from that campaign, the first campaign was to raise enough money to successfully finish the mastering, the art. The album was done, all the production was done, but the mastering process, which is very expensive.
It all costs money.
The art, the design, which we had some great designers. We had the artist, well, first of all, the photographer, Maggie St. Thomas, great photographer who took all the photos. Then we've got Luke Iblings, who was the guy who designed the front and back cover. And then we have Mark London, and Mark London was actually a Grammy-nominated artist who did all of Brian Wilson's stuff. He did the Smile CD, which was nominated for a Grammy, and now he does all the Beach Boys stuff as well. So he's a really hot artist, and he did all of the graphic design on the inside for the color booklet and all of that, and even got some help from a girl named Rachel, I forget her last name because I didn't meet her personally yet, but she's Madonna's graphic artist. I mean, we have some really top of the line people on all ends of this thing.
I know you do. There's a lot of names on here.
Yeah. So anyway, but as I was saying, first time ever to, the first campaign was to get the thing done and out. The second campaign was actually just so that we could promote the album through radio and try and hit the top 40 Billboard charts. That's our goal. So I can proudly say today, and this is just coming in as we speak, so bear with me here.
Fresh news.
Here's what it is. 7 total Billboard indicator ads, 5 new ads, 47 spins, plus 35 from last week. So the new ads this week are, and I'm going to announce these stations, so if you're in these areas, you can start listening. WAZO, Wilmington, North Carolina. WCIL, Carbondale, Illinois. That's an important one because it's monitored. WFIZ in Ithaca, New York. WJDQ, Meriden, Mississippi. Or is that Missouri? I think MS is Missouri, right?
Mississippi, I think.
Mississippi, okay. WWKZ in Tupelo, Mississippi. And then also on KKCK, Marshall, Minnesota. WSKS, Utica, New York. So that was basically the ones that just started playing it. But then I just found out that we're also number 61 on Mediabase.
Okay.
Now, on top of that, I've just been told, bottom line, Corey Feldman hit the top 10 on a Billboard and a BDS chart today. On top of that, you're comfortably in the Mediabase top 100. And he says, I hope the internet trolls have fun chewing on that. So there you go. That means we're making a mark, folks.
We're saying, to get on a chart, there's a lot of music out there. There's a lot of music out there that does not even make any charts.
Right.
So congratulations to you. That's good.
Thank you.
You're on the radar.
We're actually right above Coldplay on the new ads for the week. So that's pretty exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
Now I want to ask you about a couple of actual songs on the album. One is called Remember 222.
Yep.
It's a Corey Haim, correct?
Corey's song, yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about that one?
Well, that's a very personal song, obviously, which, mostly was me in the studio with my engineer, and, we kind of did it all together. That's how a lot of the album went down. So a lot of the songs that you hear is really me playing every instrument, which I've never done before, but I do because I have access to it and I have my own home studio. So I can mess up and I can edit, right?
Yes.
So anyway, like Ascension Millennium, for example, I play every single part on that song except for the guitar solo and the bass solo. Guitar solo done by Scotty Page from Pink Floyd, and the bass solo done by my engineer, Greg. And so that was that one. And then for this one, we kind of started it off as a demo with me doing everything, but then we ended up bringing in Graham Ward, who is Paul McCartney's drummer, and he came in to play drums on that song. And then, of course, the great Scott Page again, but he plays his great sax this time and does an amazing job. And then we actually put film clips from the various films throughout the song. So it's a really good tribute. And you know what? The thing about the song, by the way, that song hit #1 on the independent digital radio charts. So that's not quite the same as Billboard and Mediabase, but it still was kind of part of the build. Part of the build, But anyway, that song is dedicated to Corey. And, most people think if you're going to do a tribute to your best friend, it's going to be this, like, sad, emotional, like everybody's, like, slitting their wrist kind of thing. Not at all. I wanted to do something that was kind of outside of the box, not what people would think. And so I wrote and produced a very positive song that makes you smile because it takes you back to those early memories. Like when people saw us in movies, you know, they weren't sad, they were laughing.
Oh, yeah, I was one of them. I was laughing. Yeah,
we had great adventures and we made people laugh, and we were a comedy team. So that's why people watch those movies over and over and over. And I figured if I'm going to put out a song that's going to connect to that fan base and to those people and really be a good memory of Corey, let's do it in a way that you actually hear it and you go, oh yeah, I remember the fun times. And it puts a smile on your face. And I think we achieved that with this song. So for all the people who didn't hear it on the independent digital places,
it's on the album.
You're now going to hear it.
You're not going to hear it. Wow. So because you produced this album yourself, well, you had co-producers, I'm sure, but this is on your label. It's on your label, correct?
Yes, Sci-Fi Records.
Sci-Fi Records, and you started that in 2009.
That's correct.
So I mean, because nowadays you got to do it yourself these days, right?
Well, here's the thing. We did the last Truth Movement album on my label, right?
Yeah.
And it was called Technology Analogy. And I had a couple of the guys who were on this record, Scott Page and John Caron. Yeah. John Caron's been with Pink Floyd for 30 years. And he co-wrote and co-produced 7 of the tracks on that album. And on top of it, we got Storm Thurgeson, Pink Floyd's longtime artist, to do all the artwork on that album.
Yeah.
Now, that's a lot of guns coming out of the gate, right?
Yeah.
So critically, we got great cred.
Yes.
Like, people dug it. But nobody even knew this thing came out, really. I mean, it was like a little buzz in England and a little buzz here. Pink Floyd's website did some reviews and they gave us like really positive, you know, comments and stuff. But I mean, that's it. It didn't hit the mainstream because number one, we didn't really have a top 40 single on it because it's not a top 40 type album. Right. But I think what it did accomplish is it got the musical credibility meter going because people went, okay, he's not just some actor trying to make a pop album and get a quick, you know, fix of ego or whatever. You know, I'm a real artist and I'm doing this for life.
It's not just a vanity project.
No,
you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, man, since I was born. I mean, this is what I do. So I want each project to get better and better with quality and everything. So the point being, we did okay on that, but this is the first time as an independent label that I'm going out against all these majors. So when you look at those lists, you look at the Billboard charts, you look at the media-based charts, you look at anything that I'm on right now, every single one around me is Universal, MCA, Warner Brothers, Geffen. I mean, that's the list.
I know.
And then Sci-Fi Records in there. So we're doing something, we're making history, folks. We're doing something that like nobody's ever done before with an independent label run out of my house.
I love that. That's the way.
crazy.
That's the now. So when you want to find people, like you were just talking about, do you just make a phone call? I mean, you say, I'm Corey Feldman, come on my album. Like, how do you do that?
No, God, no.
How do you get them to come on your album?
No, you know what? Listen, every story every picture tells a story, don't it? Right?
Yes.
My life is a many feathered bird. Okay, so
I like that.
I'm always in a different place in a different time, and wherever I go, I seem to receive a lot of love. Okay, except for on those stupid, you know, I don't know, blogger sites and TMZ and all that.
We
and
don't care about them.
Right.
Yes.
Blast you and say all this evil stuff. But aside from that, like people that aren't hiding behind a computer and they're not cowards, the ones that come up to me on a daily basis, feel nothing but love. So that goes from whether it's like fans at an elementary school or a high school, or when I go to top shelf, you know, parties like I'm going to right when I leave here. When I go to these places, people give me respect, they give me props, and when I go backstage, like at a Pink Floyd concert, which, you know, if it's in LA, you can pretty much count on finding me there because I'll be there. But anyway, so at those places, you know, you run into the musicians, right? So John Caron and I became friends. I mean, like 15 years ago. There was a certain point where I was backstage at one of the Dark Side of the Moon shows because he plays with both Roger Waters and David Gilmour and Pink Floyd. He's the only guy that plays in all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's a super genius guy, and he deserves a lot more credit than he gets. But anyway, he actually co-wrote "Learning to Fly," which was Pink Floyd's only #1 song.
Yeah, I know, I love that song. I remember that song.
Yeah. So that was his baby. But anyway, so let me just say this much: that, you know, John and I were backstage, and he introduced me to some nieces. This is about 6 years ago. And his niece and nephew, and he said, "This is my niece and nephew. I wanted you to meet them. You know, say hello." I was like, "Hi, how you doing?" You know, and they were like, "How do you guys know each other?" And we just both kind of stopped and looked at each other for a minute, like, how do we explain this in a short sentence? And he was like, well, he's basically just part of the band at this point. And I was like, yeah, I'll take that, you know.
Okay.
And kind of that's what happened in a way. I mean, obviously not the real band because, you know, they're older and they got their people and, you know, but.
They got their people, yes, other people.
Yes, but, you know, but I've been lucky enough to get a couple of them to come on to my team and help me make this. And I'm hoping one day to get Dave and Roger on board, or at least one of them, you know.
I might faint if they came in the room.
Oh, my God, I'd be so excited.
Oh, my God.
But, and Paul's another one I really want to work with really badly. But anyway, point being, so that was that situation. Like, I just got to know him backstage. I mean, between Roger and Dave and Pink Floyd, I've seen him alone, you know, probably 20, 30 times. But then, you know, he's also at other people's events and stuff like that. So you get to know people around the scene. And then at some point, I got the courage to say, hey, you want to come do this? Now, with Fred Durst, for example, on this album, totally different scale. Like, Fred and I have known each other for 20 years, on and off. Yeah. We ran into each other at, you know, the Playboy Mansion regularly, or this party or that party. Yes. And every time I'd be like, man, Corey Feldman, I'm such a big fan. I love you. Let's do something together. I want to do some songs. I want to direct you in a movie. I want to do this. I want to do that. I was like, I love you, Fred. Let's do it. Here's my number. Come on, hit me up. Okay. And then he hits me up, and then we make a plan. And then all of a sudden, like, the day of the meeting or whatever, and he, like, you can't find him. So that kind of stuff happens. And it literally took a decade. A decade to get us together in the studio, or actually even in the same room for a meeting. It took 10 years. And I gave up on it. I was like, this is done. It's not going to happen. But the man is a man of his word. He just is he takes a little bit of time sometimes to get there. But
artist.
All I can say is that once it happened, once we got to that point, he was 100% on board. So much so that he literally took over the session, started producing every bit of it. I just sat back and said, like, do your thing. Yeah, man. I mean, he's got the legacy, you know. Yes, so I stepped back. I've got no ego in that regard. So he did. He took over. And Scotty Page came in and again played on that song with us, and you know, great musicianship. And then he ended up actually sleeping on my floor. Yeah, that's how deep it got, because we were working so many hours that eventually he just passed out on the floor, and you know, went back to work when we started. You know, the next morning, like, okay, let's go, wake up, got to get the session going, got to get these tracks done. And Corrupt, same thing. Corrupt, what a great guy he is, man. He came in at the last minute. I mean, literally, because it was supposed to be Snoop's song. Snoop was supposed to do that song, and him and I had been texting each other like, okay, we're gonna do this. He's like, I love you, man. I'm all for it. And I'm like, let's do it. And then he had a family emergency and couldn't come through. So I ended up having to like finish that song. I'm like, what am I gonna do? So I'm like, who's the next best rapper? You know, so I just look at the Dog Pound, right? I'm like, okay, next in line, Corrupt, duh. You know, let's do this. So I call Corrupt. Actually, he was friends with my engineer, because my engineer, one of the engineers, is Tommy D. Tommy D was the original old school engineer from Death Row.
Oh, there you go.
So he did all the, like, he did the No Limit album. He did the Tupac Machiavelli album. He's been around since the beginning. He's legit, real deal, right? So Corrupt works with him all the time. Snoop works with him all the time. Everybody knows him, right? So I'm like, man, I'm in trouble. You know, who do you know? I know you work with everybody. He's like, well, I actually had Corrupt in here the other night, and he saw me working on some of your tracks. He's like, oh, that's my boy, man. Give him a call. I want to do something. And then, you know, he lost the number, and it took 6 months, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we got Corrupt to come in and do the song that Snoop didn't make in time, and then we ended up doing the other song with Snoop. So it all worked out. I got everybody.
No, folks. There are a lot of people on this double album. Angelic to the Core is coming out tomorrow. You can find it online, everywhere. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
You have to come back again, because we need more time with you.
We do.
You're so entertaining, and you have such a great story.
And everybody, check out my new video, by the way. I have to say that we just premiered my third video. First time in the world that I've ever put a video out with beautiful, exotic, I mean, crazy cabaret dancers, ballet dancers. We have aerial artists. I mean, it's a full-fledged dance video with all types of dance. It's playing exclusively right now only on TMZ and Fish Rapper. So I don't normally like to say, you know, TMZ, but I'm saying it because they're helping me out, man. So God bless them. God bless them. And God bless you. And thank you all to the Feld fam. I know you're out there watching and listening right now.
They're saying hi to you. They love you in here.
For all you people who have contributed and donated, and God bless you all. And God bless all the fans all over the world. And God bless all the people in Orlando. I'm so sorry for your losses. And I'm so sorry for all the hate and the harshness that's going on right now. And all I can say is, what happened yesterday in the Senate with gun control is BS.
Yes.
I'm really pissed off about it, and we need to get rid of Trump before it's too late. Let's get him out of here. Let's go with her because we all know what the right answer is. Hillary all the way. I'm done.
And thank you for all your entertainment.
Thank you.
Years. Thank you so much. You guys, that's Corey Feldman. We're going to play a song of his from back in the day.
Back in the day!
As we go out. Thank you so much. I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow us on AFTERBUZZ.com, on YouTube and iTunes, and you can find him on this interview there also. So see you next time.
Song's about racism, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I listen to it.
By God, baby.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.